Hey, what's happening? It's John D from Sticks and Stones Gaming coming at you with another Stadia review for Submerged Hidden Depths. Alright, so let's get right to it. So, in regards to length, at about 80% completion, it took me about 8 to 9 hours, give or take. I had a few more collectibles to get that probably would have added like 2 or 3 more hours of gameplay, but from where I stand, I did finish it at about 80%. I had a couple things left. Story quality and storytelling. The story was very simple and was mostly told through gameplay and collectibles. There weren't many cutscenes in this one, but most of the story could be missed if you're just trying to finish the game. Though the story gets everything across pretty clear, the lore and like the history of everything is only really unlocked through these little journal collectibles that you find in each area of the game, mainly in the areas of where you collect the seeds. But I'll get more about that when we talk about the gameplay. So gameplay. The gameplay is straight to the point. It's all laid out for you as simple as possible, and you pretty much ride around in your boat with the two main characters from point to point in a small open world, platforming, searching for collectibles, and planting these seeds in the game that essentially clear corruption from the world. You know, there's like a couple of them that you have to plant throughout the game. There's 10 seeds total, so they take about maybe 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes per seed to plant. So if you want to just rush through the game, you do that math times 10, blah, blah, blah. And that's probably how long it's going to take you to beat the game if you're rushing through it. So to simplify it more than the game actually does it for you, you ride your boat, you climb around, you pick stuff up, and you put stuff down. That's it. Dialogue. So the dialogue is very, very sparse. The main characters, they don't speak English, but when they do say things, it shows in subtitles, and it's never really anything outside of them checking in on each other between like area completions or spotting minor clues or other small gestures. The main dialogue comes from when you collect these journal entries that gives you backstory of the game, but even these, once collected, give you like a sentence or two at most. There's really not too much dialogue at all in this game. It's nothing crazy. It's all visual, and it's like a lot of music and atmosphere rather than like, you know, beating you to death with talking and stuff like that. There's no like scenes, cutscenes. I mean, there's a few small cutscenes, but they're honestly, it's hard to consider them cutscenes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the gameplay with them just like doing something, looking at each other like, and then that's it. You know, it's nothing crazy. Controls. So the controls, I'm going to get the good out the way. The controls are very simple, and the buttons are laid out for you on your hub, so it never gets complicated. You can see exactly what they do. Whatever button you hit will get done what needs to get done. It's one of those games. You just go to something and you press the button that it tells you to press, and that's it. It's very minimal. The movement, on the other hand, though, this is where I had the most problems. So it brought a lot of fear to me. The characters, they're really heavy, and you do a lot of platforming, but it's all interaction based, and there's no jumping. Like there's no jump button or anything like that. So it feels very janky, very janky. Like you got to line up with stuff just to get like an animation rolling. And it also gets super scary because if you somehow slide into somewhere you're not supposed to walk, or your character gets stuck, there's really nothing you can do but like wiggle around. Like I had a bunch of moments where I got stuck on a patch of like invisible wall or territory, and I just pretty much circled the stick out of frustration, feeling like, oh, I'm never going to get out. And then I randomly found my way out, and it never made sense. Like nothing ever clicked. And this happened often. The only thing that I can say didn't happen, I never had a moment where I was so stuck where it broke the game and I had to restart a checkpoint, but I got to points where I literally gave up. You know, I like literally was like, oh, I'm about to restart, you know, but he'd randomly find his way out. Character development. The development is very minimal. You pretty much know the characters are set to complete a task and the world is affected by it, but the effect on the characters really doesn't exist. You just know they're doing something, they're out here trying to get it done, and that's literally it. Like nothing changes. No, like there's small moments where, you know, the female character in here, she just gets tired and, you know, she passes out, but it really doesn't affect anything. It essentially is just like, all right, let's move on to the next day. And it doesn't like pay a toll on her or anything like that. Nothing that like I wasn't worried for her. You know what I'm saying? I didn't expect much out of it. So let's talk about the graphics and level design. So the graphics, they're lovely, man. I really enjoyed the graphics on this one. I was pushing at, you know, getting my Stadia on 4K and all that good stuff. And it's just a lot of bright colors, and I really like the art design, the models, the character clothing, and all that sort of stuff. It was super pleasing to me, and I also like the view of the wasteland. It felt like, you know, the sunken city type thing with the stuff hanging out, you know, just above water, and there was a lot of greenery just growing on everything to, you know, show that it's been in that state for a long time. I really enjoyed that. Like that was a good good looking vibe, and it all looked very pretty for the most part. And just the world in general, it created like this really great atmosphere just walking around and such, and it was nice. It was nice to look at. The colors were bright, and the only thing that really kind of took away from that, like that didn't seem too connected, were these there was a lot of animals and stuff that you can discover. Now the animals that were in the water, super dope, and they felt like a part of the world. They're having a good time. You know, you got the little like tree dolphins, whatever. You'll see when you see. I don't know how to explain it, but when you got on land, you'd run into these animals. There would be like bears and penguins and stuff, and they would kind of stare at you and freeze. And then when you get near them, they just go and disappear. Those ones didn't really blend in too well, but everything else was really cool. Like, one thing that really did it for me, as far as like when I was like visually impressed, was whenever you carried the seeds that you're supposed to plant, the world reacted to you in a small proximity, and it was beautiful. Like flowers would bloom, or if you go near any corruption, it would turn green. And there are these like figures, they're almost like people or remnants of people made from like greenery and stuff, but they're like detached, they're not like stuck in root. They would start reaching towards you, or they would just react to you being near them. And I don't know, it created like a really great atmosphere. It made me feel like I was part of something that was dope. It was super solid. At times I felt like it would hit a point where all those other goofball reviewers, they'd be like, well, this is breathtaking. So I was like, all right, I could probably throw that word around uncomfortably at what I'm seeing. And I did like the backdrops. Like there's like factories. A lot of it, the more you play into it, some of it looks a little the same as far as in like color scheme and stuff, but there is a little bit of a variety. Like there's certain floors and stuff like that, and you could hear the sounds as far as like what you're walking on, and just like the way things look. And like the higher you go when you're in like the high buildings, that has like a way different effect than when you're on like the smaller like ragged islands and stuff like that. So it was pretty solid. I wasn't mad at it. All of this being said, it's almost like, the way I can summarize it, it's very cartoonish, in that Stadia exclusive way. Not exclusive, but in that Stadia way, like the games that have come out exclusively for Stadia. And it gives me like the feeling of like the old N64 Rare games, but done like if those games were redone on like the Unreal Engine. As far as the design, when it comes to the gameplay, it's all pretty much the same type of traversing and like platforming, so it doesn't really get too crazy as far as that, but it's still pretty to look at. Like, I'm not mad at it. So replay value, there really isn't much here. Replay value, once you collect everything, there really isn't any reason to dive back into this one. It's all very straight to the point, and it's just, there's no other modes or anything like that that kind of incentivize diving back into it either, so it's very straight to the point. But that's all I have for this one. If you guys are enjoying the content and you enjoyed this review, please hit that like and subscribe. But also let me know if you've played this one, or what did you think, or what do you think of it if you've seen trailers or anything like that. Also, does anyone have a Stadia? What do you guys think, man? Do you guys think Google's going to drop it like they do all of their non-search engine affairs? Who knows? But again, I'm John D, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Miku fexate av en F miku day.